Good morning from the beautiful holy city of Tzfat, Israel. So I just want to address something. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and of course the media, it's so important for people to stay away from the news. All of the news is bad news. Now, studies show, so this is not, something that I thought about, but studies actually show that people that look at the news actually have depression and anxiety. Never before in human history have times been better. Never before has there been more peace in the world. Has there been more prosperity in the world, more freedom in the world, more knowledge in the world, more spirituality in the world? Never. When you look at it statistically, even something as simple as how long we live, we're basically living twice as long. You know what that means? Twice as long as 100 years ago. We're living in extraordinarily blessed times. As a Jew, so many of our brethren, millions and millions of people were basically completely repressed. I had 3 great-grandparents murdered by the evil communist regime. Never mind my other grandfather that came from Poland. His whole family was wiped out. And here we're living in Messianic times. I'm in the state of Israel. Sorry, in the Eretz Yisrael, in the land of Israel. I'm in the Holy Land. Jews around the world, even in Iran, are free to be Jews, to practice their Judaism everywhere in the world. It's never happened in 2,000 years of our history. We have the Lubavitch Rebbe who came out with such amazing and beautiful and great insights. So we are living, relatively speaking, and you can only know what something is if you compare it to something else, in the best of times, in times that are unimaginable. And so we literally have to stay away from the media. The news you're hearing from Israel is exaggerated. Both the whole thing of the Arab-Israeli conflict, right here in the holy city of Tzfat, there's a university, and mainly who goes there are Arab students. Some of the doctors of the clinics are Arabs. Anybody that says that an apartheid state is a state which gives free tuition to the Arabs, even more than the Jews, because it's like an affirmative action, and they're given positions all throughout. They're doing very well, better than they're doing in anywhere else, because it's the only country that they're actually free, is just completely deluded, as well as this whole thing of these protests. People are saying, oh, you're not pro-democracy. Democracy elected the Knesset, which the Knesset makes the laws. What you're pro is suppressing people into your woke culture. And this whole crazy thing of woke, people don't realize the basic idea of America, of one of the most modern inventions, if you want to call it, is the idea called, believe it or not, you shouldn't be oppressed and you should be free. And so Obama came along, and he came from a third world country. Now in those countries, there's no such thing as freedom. There's an Islamic state. And that whole idea, and people don't realize this because I lived in Africa, unless you live in a third world country where everything is based on the balance of power, which means whoever has power abuses that power, uses that power. They don't care about the freedoms of the other. They only care about one thing. Can I or can't I? Not should I or shouldn't I, but can I or can't I? And so his style, before Obama, basically the Congress voted, etc., democracy worked. But then he used his powers. He put over 400 executive orders. Basically, he became a dictator. And so this is very important to understand, because 27%, based on Pew polls, of America actually have become his cult members, and they're following. That's what happens in a cult. You just think that whatever the cult leader says is 100% okay. It's not okay, because even if you have an opinion, you have to use your voice, use your mouth. You have to convince the other person. You can't just dictate. You can't say, I'm right, you're wrong, and I can use any type of means justifies the end because I'm so holy and you're so evil. And that's a summary of the whole way the woke works. And it's not okay, because the thousands of years people were oppressed by vicious tyrants, and it took thousands of years for people to say, no, there's such a thing called democracy, and not that I'm going to usurp the democracy through having a liberal court literally impose. So everything that the left is kind of accusing the right of doing of being a tyranny, they are actually the tyranny. And that's a classic thing that basically Hitler and evil people do. They say, oh, you're bad, and therefore that justifies that I can do anything to you. He killed children and gay people, he killed just murder. Why? Because you're bad, and that justifies everything. So whenever you have a person that knows that they're right and you're wrong, and therefore they can do anything to you, that is the definition of true tyranny. So please, if you're woke, wake up and realize that you're actually in a cult, a very, very bad cult, and it's not okay. You have to give people respect. You have to give them the freedom. Right here I'm living in Israel, and of course the narrative now is that we are the woke side. We are the ones that are pro-democracy. But the actual truth is that the right respects the left's will to do what they think is okay. But the left doesn't respect the right. The left is no. We're going to use everything in our power to suppress you, to oppress you, and that shows that really they're not standing for justice. They are the injustice that they're talking about. And this is classic throughout all of human history, that the left, or usually it's like a radical group, whether it's far right, far left, either way, it always turns into evil, because radicalism is this false narrative that I am right, you are wrong, and any types of means justifies the end. So join me in being part of the normal people, the center, and that's the most of America, most of the world, we're center. And the center is independence, and we think. We don't just follow blindly what some idiot puts out on a Facebook post. Like, wake up. You're part of your own mind, your own heart, your own soul. You have to use it. And ultimately, may God bless us all with basically common sense, common intelligence, and learn from thousands of years just to be respectful and not to be a dictator. Good luck on being on the right side.